Hello everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and I'm here to review The Pale Blue Eye, coming out on Netflix from writer-director Scott Cooper, who's previously done films like Crazy Heart, Out of the Furnace, Hostiles, and Antlers, has worked with Christian Bale a few times at this point, and this time Christian Bale plays Augustus Landor, who is a widower, and his daughter has disappeared, and he lives near West Point and winds up being pulled in to investigate the deaths and mutilation of a cadet. And he winds up teaming up with a other cadet, Edgar Allan Poe, played by Harry Melling, and you have these two investigating this strange case as more of these strange mutilations wind up happening, with hanged men having their hearts chopped out. And this film, like a lot of Scott Cooper's films, really take their time. And in some of the films like Hostiles and Crazy Heart, I don't really notice it, but in films like Antlers and Out of the Furnace, I felt like some of the pacing was off, and I felt that in The Pale Blue Eye as well. It felt like it was taking its swell old time a little too much, and I was losing some engagement. But I have to say, the atmosphere is impressive, and the cinematography from Masanobu Takayanagagi is quite impressive, and the Howard Shore's score that we get builds a lot of atmosphere, and Scott Cooper knows how to build atmosphere. This is very gothic kind of eeriness that is quite unnerving. And you have this mystery, which I feel like is pretty compelling. And the story takes some interesting twists and turns that I feel like is going to either make people angry or shock people in a good way. And I think it'll probably be like a 50-50 shot. And that's a challenge. And how this third act plays out is bold. It's interesting, it's different, and there's a lot of emotion to it. And that's the thing too, there is a decent amount of emotion here, and I think Christian Bale and Harry Melling do fantastic jobs with their roles here. Melling in particular is very dynamic as Poe, and there's some other side things, like he starts developing this relationship with the daughter of the doctor at West Point, this very wealthy family, and those are some moments where I start losing some interest here. But I do have to say there's a really impressive supporting cast here, because you have the likes of Gillian Anderson, you have Robert Duvall, Toby Jones, Charlotte Gainsbourg, Timothy Spall, Simon McBurney, who Captain Hitchcock I think is one of the supporting characters that probably gets the most to do, and he brings a lot of conflict into the equation, especially between him and Christian Bale. They have a lot of great moments together, and I think the acting is really good. I think the mystery, for the most part, is pretty compelling. It takes some bold twists and turns that I think will be challenging for some people. But in general, I do think that this film has its merits. It packs a punch at times. It has a great feel to it. But it's something that doesn't always click and might drag a bit, and you might be challenged to keep your interest for the whole 2 hours and 10 minutes. Like I said, it is a good film. It's a fine film. It's just, I don't know if everybody's going to be bought in the whole way until the end. And I think that'll probably be one of the biggest challenges of this film, is how are you going to be feeling when those credits roll and the journey that you wind up taking, because it might shock you a little bit, might pull that rug out from under you. But those are my thoughts on The Pale Blue Eye. Let me know what you think, and let's talk some movies. But thank you as always for tuning in and supporting your Wasteland reviewer.